FBI. I was an FBI agent from December 10, 1951 until I retired March the 30th, 1979. At the time of my retirement, I was in charge of most of Southern California. I had over 700 personnel under my command, budget of $22.5 million. I had 16 offices that I was responsible for. I had a fantastic career. In the old days, the FBI was a great organization. Unfortunately, as I said a few moments ago, it's been infiltrated by the satanic cult, Illuminati movement, as well as other agencies like the NSA and the CIA and so forth. And I'll go more into detail on that in a minute. In my FBI career, I point this out to you because I'm establishing credibility. I do have credibility. I was one of the top executives in the FBI in my day. As a matter of fact, I was interviewed for the directorship in 1975 by Attorney General Griffin Bell's people. Of course, they didn't want me. It's very obvious because I'm rather outspoken. But, you know, I was watching TV here not too long ago. It was actually a couple of years ago, actually. And Brian Gumbel had Jim Nichols, who was Terry Nichols' brother, Terry Nichols being the Oklahoma City conspirator who was convicted and tried and so forth along with McVeigh. And I had given Jim my Oklahoma City report. I made 2 trips to Oklahoma City. Out of my pocket, I submitted a 222-page report. I've given it to congressmen and senators. Rohrabacher is the most recent one who did an investigation on Oklahoma City bombing here last December. And Jim says to Brian Gumbel, "Have you seen Ted Gunderson's report?" And Brian Gumbel says, "Oh, he's a conspiracy theorist." That's the way he cast me aside. You know, he's wrong. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm a conspiracy realist. There is a conspiracy. And I will prove it to you, and I'll document it. Time is very limited. I'll do the best I can in the next hour or so. But you can go back to Pearl Harbor. Actually, you can go back further than that. Go back to Pearl Harbor. We knew about Pearl Harbor December the 4th. We were attacked December the 7th. We could have pulled our fleet out of Pearl Harbor. We didn't. I've talked to the naval intelligence officer who intercepted or received that message that the Japanese code had been broken. He passed it up to his superiors. Nothing occurred. After the war, he was subpoenaed by Congress. His superior in the Navy said, "Don't worry about it. Don't go to the hearing." He didn't. Never heard anything more about it. Jack Kennedy assassination, it's well documented. He was murdered by the mob in Chicago, Sam Giancana's group, and also by the CIA. Jack was going to revamp the CIA. He made his personal goals and aims public within his circles, of course, and he was going to make some major changes. Also, he had withheld and aborted the invasion of Cuba, which upset some individuals. I recently learned that a fellow named I.B. Hale, who was an All-American football player at Texas Christian, was ordered and was involved, he was an FBI agent at the time, in changing the parade route of the Jack Kennedy group that day. I have information that the night before the Kennedy assassination, there was a secret meeting at the Clinton Murchison home, Murchison being an oil man. Those in that meeting included Lyndon Baines Johnson, and I'm sorry to say, and I regret that this is, I know this is true because I've personally documented, I've talked to people who know that this is true. J. Edgar Hoover was there. I was shocked when I learned this, and I only learned this within the last year. And the reason I know is because I talked to the maid that worked in the Murchison home that night. And when Lyndon Johnson came out of that meeting, he says to his girlfriend, Margaret Brown, who wrote a book about this, and I used to have my radio talk show in 97, 98, and I had her on my radio talk show. She said, then Johnson told her, after tomorrow, we don't have to worry about that SOB Kennedy. Bobby Kennedy, shot in the kitchen, the Ambassador Hotel, Los Angeles. 5 bullet shots in him. There were 11 shots fired. There were shot supposedly by Saran Saran, and I'm sure he was. Saran was part of it. But Saran Saran's gun would only hold 8 bullets. There were extra bullets in the wall and in the hall and in the door, covered up. Ruby Ridge, we all know about Randy Weaver. BATF tried to set him up. He wouldn't go along with it. They issued a bench warrant for his arrest. He didn't appear in court. They sent an army out to him. Horiochi, the FBI sharpshooter, murdered his wife in front of the window of the front door. Oklahoma City, I personally, as I said, made 2 trips to Oklahoma City. I was told by an inside investigator now, somebody that was on the inside, that there were at least 11 other people involved in Oklahoma City. The fertilizer bomb was a myth. There was no fertilizer bomb. Ridiculous. There was an ammonia nitrate, it was an electrohydrodynamic gaseous fuel device, a highly classified bomb that was tested in the early 1980s, 1982 as a matter of fact, in Area 51. The explosion was underestimated. It was so powerful it killed one of the technicians. I happen to have personal knowledge of that particular bomb. I'll call it the barometric bomb. The government covered it up. I have in my archives at home, by the way, I have over 300 boxes of research. I have my videotapes of the news broadcast the afternoon of Oklahoma City. The broadcasters on the TV stations in Oklahoma City, every one of them said they're bringing unexploded devices out of the building. One of them said, now we're going to find out who's behind this, because one of the unexploded devices has U.S. Army stenciled on it. That's right. And, of course, you and I know that McVeigh and Nichols could not possibly have been in there that morning and planted those devices. What I think was planned was the barometric bomb was to go off, a very highly explosive bomb. It's manufactured by the Hercules Manufacturing Company in Silicon Valley, developed by Michael Riconosciuto, a friend of mine, who's now in prison because he dared to testify against Congress, the Brooks Committee.